Hey everyone, how's it going? We've got Jersey Ray, Shane, and Angie.
I feel a little overdressed.
At least you won't get cold.
Yeah, I can put on my Batman mask if you want.
I curled my hair. Does that count?
The hair looks very pretty.
Pretty.
Her hair looks done up.
Yeah, there it is. Let me turn this
Gotta
down.
say, amazing job hiding all that gray.
It's all gray. What are you talking about?
So, is there anyone? Let's see how many people we got in here right now. Let's see. There's Anna. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Anna.
So, well,
Wayne's in here. Hi, Wayne.
hey, Angie. So, tonight's topic is Halloween stuff. Guess we can start with Jersey. How's it going?
Pretty good.
I can't tell if she's furniture or a person at this point.
I know when she jumped into the
Sits
stream, I
so
thought it was
still.
the background. Yeah.
It's almost like she froze.
Yeah, must be cold. So, topic was going to be scary events or Halloween events. I know Shane and I both had some Waverly Hills stories. And I'm sure Angie's got some pretty good stories too, right?
A couple.
So,
Do most involve a mirror?
What, Bloody Mary?
Hey, she comes at me hard, like all the time now. Every time I turn on a chat, she's just smacking me down.
Where's my crystal ball? I don't see Shane's future. Uh-oh.
Oh no, I'm gonna be just like Rick, abused.
Probably should have done my hands too. I kind of did my fingers.
Rachel, you look scary. I'm not gonna lie. It
yeah.
doesn't even look like you at all.
This
Yeah,
is
you-
mild compared to what I did. You see my
I
Facebook
saw the other
hands?
picture.
Yeah.
I just flipped through it on Facebook and saw the other one. That one was pretty scary too. I was getting ready to call you and ask you who beat you up.
Yeah, that was like I used to do Camp Evans Base of Terror, so it was a haunt that was fundraiser for InfoAge Science Museum, and I was bored one night, so I was sitting there and I did that in the semi-dark with a mirror, and so it's supposed to be a burn.
So I have a generalized question because I really don't know the answer, and I bet one of you three has it. First and foremost, what is the idea of Halloween about? First and foremost, because I really don't know much about the holiday except for dress up like a character, run around and get candy, even into my late 40s, and there's scary ghosts and goblins. But what's the whole history of it? I know one of you three has to know.
It's Samhain. It's the night before November 1st, when the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest, and they didn't carve pumpkins, which were to ward off evil spirits. They were actually turnips or parsnips. It wasn't until the tradition was brought to America that it were like, wow, pumpkins are way easier to carve. And the treats were left out for your ancestors, the spirits, to appease them and make them happy. So it's actually just basically a fall solstice kind of thing. It was the end of growing season and the end of harvesting and preparations for winter.
I had no clue. I don't know much about that stuff. I just have fun with it when it comes around.
Well, the costumes too are to also appease the spirits.
What are we supposed to be wearing costumes to make them laugh?
Yeah, probably.
Cheer them up?
It wasn't so much as it was the fall solstice, basically. But it's
Right,
supposed to be
and-
the night of the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest. So you wanted
Right.
to ward off evil spirits with the carved parsnips and costumes and whatnot, and then the candy or the treats, because it wasn't candy, 1,000 years ago, to appease your ancestor spirits.
Yep, and it was also some kind of Celtic thing too, because
That is Celtic, Samhain.
Yep, and it was blurred between I guess the living and the dead was as legend had it. Hey, 5 Mile, how's it going? And then something was on what was it, November 1st? There was another thing that was within the Celtic too. I can't remember exactly what it was.
So the question
Amanda.
then becomes, how did we go from that to Chucky? I mean,
Just progression.
so what you're telling me is that the human brain's perception of things kind of changes the way it was intended to makes it into something totally new, right?
Pretty much. I mean, not everybody loves horror, but a lot of people do, and it just progresses from there. I mean, just look at the old horror films compared to what we watch today. And we're so used to slasher flicks, they didn't even come out to the 80s.
Late 70s.
80s.
Yeah,
Slasher
that's
flicks?
that's interesting.
Slasher flicks, yeah. The first slasher flick was Halloween.
That's like 77.
No, not Halloween. I'm sorry. I'm thinking not Jason. Yeah, Jason.
Jason was 79.
And then there's a Chainsaw Massacre.
1980.
That's early 80s.
The Chainsaw Massacre was?
Chainsaw
think-
Massacre, the first one, that was 72.
Oh my God, is it that old?
Yeah.
I thought it was after the others. That's crazy.
No, what was it was Camp. No, I think, no. Jason moves Friday the 13th. That was like 1980.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Psycho,
Friday the 13th was 1980. Kevin Bacon was in that too.
Yeah, 1980.
Yeah,
Kevin
Psycho.
Bacon
That's a
was in
good one mermaid.
So that was when slasher flicks, what we call slasher flicks. Not saying they weren't bloody movies before that, but Friday the 13th was a slasher flick, and that's what started it, the whole genre. Before that, the horror movies were more psychological. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you really didn't see them chainsawing away at people.
Yeah, that was based off of Ed Gein too.
Yeah, it was an influence. Ed Gein was an influence.
So
Yeah, he
we're
was
talking
more-
about, I've been talking about Halloween and stuff, and all four of us that are sitting here, I know the one thing that we all really like about all of this is whenever we do something, we like to know a little bit about the history of it, because I think that's one of the four things that we all have in common. And when you get into this paranormal activity and things that we don't have answers for, and the scariness of that, where did a lot of that originate? Do either of you all know where the origin of ghostly encounters or hauntings and such? Do you know where that originated?
Well, there's been ghost stories for
I
as
was just
long
gonna
as
say,
for as
it
long
goes back to early man. Once
Yeah.
we started burying our dead, basically, once
right.
we evolved enough intellectually.
Right. Yeah. In the book of Samuel, or there's the ghost of Samuel. That's in the Bible. So I mean that goes way back. So, and then
I mean, face it, who was the first zombie? Lazarus.
well, there,
I was
yeah,
gonna
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
was
did
gonna
raise
say
us from the
Angie
dead.
Hay, but that's a different story.
yeah, I think it's you can even trace back some of that stuff to even like in I think the book of Ezekiel also, where there's they're talking about walking through the valley. It sounds an awful lot like they're describing zombies, but that's I don't think the same spirit as what they're talking about with zombies, like what you've seen in Night of the Living Dead, which incidentally was a great zombie movie.
That's what kicked off the genre of actual Living Dead movies.
Mhm.
There are zombie movies before that where they called them zombies, but they weren't The Walking Dead, the Living Dead. They were people like with the what was it called? Voodoo zombies.
So
I
5
don't
Mile
know.
did a costume detecting video.
Now that'd be interesting. Hopefully, you wasn't like the Tin Man or a knight in shining armor, because that would be really hard to get a clear signal.
Right.
Wait, 5
Yeah.
Mile, did you do a short on that or something? I thought I saw that. Let's see if I can
Ronald
find
McDonald Zombie. That's cool. I like
Yeah.
people that take characters and then twist them up into something dead and rotten. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there that we've speaking of Halloween though, I mean, as a culture, I mean, we've changed a lot too. Because I can remember when I was a kid, it seemed like it was a lot more. Celebrated than it is today. We had maybe 4 or 5 kids come to the house tonight.
No, it's not them not celebrating. They do. I'm pretty sure where you live too. They do trunk or treats literally starting October 1st. Every weekend, there's got to be 8 or 10 of them going on.
Yeah, that's the way it is around here. Who wants to walk or travel? Well, like I live 4 miles up a holler, so but everybody will go to these trunk or treats, and the kids can run around, get all the candy they want in one general area, and everything has become so commercialized. And
Well,
I call it's a
when we were
microwave
kids, too.
world. Everything's quick and easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was commercialized when we were kids, but we worked for our candy. And these kids, it's instant gratification. So now they don't want to walk house to house.
Exactly.
And parents are like, well, it's safer. Well, I don't know. I'm like, do you know everybody at the trunk or treat?
That just means as a parent, you had to keep an eye on your kids back in the day.
True that. My favorite was like they just put a warning out in the paper about a week or so ago, and beware people putting edibles in your kids' candy. And I'm like, no, really? Those things are expensive. They're not sticking those in your kids' trick or treat bag.
Where did that start back in the day? Hey, you would get a razor blade and you had your candy inspected. Where did that really start? Because I never, ever in my life heard of anybody having anything like that happen to them. Where did that begin?
Probably back in the 50s, 60s, maybe. But I know, I actually ate
urban legend?
candy.
I remember seeing pictures of it on the news when I was a kid.
Well, they always warn. Nobody's ever put a razor blade in there, but people have injected candy with like bleach and stuff like that. There's sickos, and there'll be a sicko at a trunk or treat too. That's why I said you don't know everybody there. When I was 13, I trick or treated, and I ate one piece of candy because I was pretty good about it. And when I got home, I was sick as a dog. My mom's like, "Oh, you ate all this candy while you're trick or treating." And I didn't. I only ate one Butterfinger. To this day, I have not eaten them again. And the next day, she came in. I was violently ill all night, and she was like, she felt bad. She was like, I saw in the paper that kids in my area, in my neighborhood, had gone to the hospital because they found out they were poisoned. Like I had to go to the hospital. We had all eaten poisoned candy. I was so sick.
It doesn't even feel right, because when I was a kid, I mean, remember like at the end of the day, it's 10:45. Do you know where your children are? That was like when your parents come outside looking for you, they finally let you back in the house, because we weren't allowed to sit around the house. We were always out and about. And it just seems so strange that some of these occurrences happened. I mean, does everybody attribute modern ghost hunting or paranormal activity to like Amityville or Ed and Lorraine Warren or Poltergeist? Is that where that comes from?
I think there was some influence from there, but I don't think people really notice that now. I think the big thing that pushed for paranormal investigation and ghost hunting today would have been the TAPS show about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I got you. But they had to get the idea from somewhere, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, I think
Warrens
off and
probably
on there's been
influenced
documentaries and movies.
Yeah, remember Leonard Nimoy did that in Search of. They did a special on ghosts.
Hmm.
So
Well, I think that the TAPS organization, they were, I won't say they were friends with, but they knew of Ed and Lorraine, and they followed, some of the stuff that they'd done. And their whole idea was to debunk stuff. They wanted to prove things were not paranormal. But if they were paranormal, they would admit it, And so that way they went into it with a skeptic mindset.
Hey, Brian.
Whereas with Lorraine and Ed, they went into it with everything was, demonic or evil and, and all this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think perhaps gave a whole new awareness, brought a whole new awareness to the investigation of stuff.
Well, I'm a skeptic over everything.
Yeah, I would say I am too, but that was very attractive about watching the TAP show is because, as Angie said, they did debunk a lot. The first 2 seasons, they debunked more than they found.
It's kind of like they found out there was probably more money in finding something.
Yeah, I know Ghost Adventures, that one guy on there, supposedly that's what happened is he blew the whistle on them for
Nick Goff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a Piper puppy right now.
I quit watching Ghost Adventures because I can't see your goosebumps. I can't see your stressed feelings. I can't, show me facts. It's like, oh, I feel cold air. Well, I can't feel that. Show me proof. And that's why I got mad. And half the times those guys scared themselves.
Yeah.
They would scare themselves to take off running. And they're like, why are we running? They don't know. Hi, Brian. Sorry I missed you.
Because I don't think nobody wanted to be the one that got caught by the real ghost. I think that's the point. I think they felt like they were tempting fate every time, and whenever somebody ran and jumped and took off, you don't have to be the fastest one. You just can't be the slowest, right?
I just got to be faster than you.
But where
Right.
would you draw the line? Because we know we all like paranormal hunting and all that stuff. Where do you draw the line at what you would investigate?
I don't have a line. I would do anything, I think.
At least
Sign me
once. Yeah, actually, I'd like to do Waverly Hills again. That was a blast.
Well, we should do that. We should have our credit card on January 1st, and then as many spots as we can rent out to pay for it. We'll take as many people as possible. That's my opinion.
Yeah, we should probably plan it before January 1st so we can jump in as soon as they open that and get the date we want.
Hey, I just paid off one of my credit cards. I got one that's nice and empty with zero balance on it. Let's go.
Count me in. I don't care if Rick's back to work or not. This girl ain't missing this one. Okay. And if he don't want to go on the hunt, he can sit in the car if he wants to go.
Yeah.
I'll go. If I don't have my back
Everybody's
surgery
close
by then.
enough. Rachel's the furthest one away. She's about 9-hour drive, I think.
No.
Yeah. It's 5 hours from where I'm at here, but once I move, it'll be about an 8-hour drive.
How far is it for you to get to when you go see Ed, Rachel?
About 7-8 hours.
Oh, it's maybe a little longer than that. Maybe it's 9 or 10 to here.
Well, it's not like I would be going to Ed and then down to you. I'd be going at an angle down to you, so probably about the same.
I looked up something in Jersey to go to one time, and I thought my drive was 10 hours.
Everybody?
That That
That's
sounds
okay.
about right.
It's all right. Take me 2 days.
I mean, I want to keep in the spirit of Wayne's ideology for today. I definitely want to hear some of everybody else's personal experiences, and I want to see if you can make a believer out of me.
Yeah, I will go as far as saying that when we were at like
Thanks, man.
that video I put out the other day when we were at Waverly Hills, when you seen the laser grid going crazy, that actually happened at Waverly Hills. Now, was it supernatural? Is the question. I mean, it could have very well been like glitchy batteries on the grid. I do know I charged the grid the night before, but you just never know.
So explain that whole situation with the dots, so that everybody kind of completely understands it. Where we were sitting, what was going on. Explain that to everybody, because I don't think everybody knows how that played out.
All right. Well, I'll back it up a little bit because we actually were earlier that night had the dots going in another part of the sanatorium, and they were on for a little while up there. So we were up there, and we were playing with the dots, and we had them, and that's if you watch that video, you'll see Shane was getting some EMF activity in the middle of a room. And so he was getting in the middle of the activity. When that was going on, we had the dots outside the door also going. So I was filming in there, and you can watch the video where we walk out and you can see the dots. And I say something like, "Are you going to mess with the dots?" And if you hear it, it goes later this evening. And then we go down, and then we're downstairs, and we start messing with the dots. And the dots are on for, I don't know, maybe about 10 minutes at the most, and they start flashing. And going crazy. And the lady that was with us, that was with Waverly Hills staff, started talking to it and say, no, turn it on. And they'd turn on. And on the count of 3, turn on. And it would do that. And then they shut off. And then the battery was dead. And at the same time, you can see I'm holding that I got the camera with the app, which has got an EMF detector. You can see it starts flashing red and it starts going all weird and crazy at the same time, which is, again, not saying it was paranormal, but it definitely makes for interesting video watching.
Well, see, that's why I asked you, was that your flashlight that was doing that? I mean, because, if it had been hers, you could have said it could have been manipulated. But knowing that it was yours,
Mm-hmm.
you knew it wasn't being manipulated. And the thing about these paranormal events, they will pull from the batteries. So that's why you always, when you go into some place like that, you take extra batteries, because that's how they get their energy a lot of times. If they're not draining it from a battery source, they're draining it from you.
Well, that laser grid that I had, it plugs into a USB and charges. So what I did after that, because I honestly didn't know if it was just used up or if something happened. So when we had gotten home, I bought another laser grid. So next time I go out, I'll have 2 laser grids.
Wayne, do you have the capability, since you're sitting at your computer, to pull that clip up unedited from when we're sitting in the group and just play it over the stream?
Give me a second. I'll see if I can set it up. I might be able to. It's not on my computer; it's on my tablet. So I might.
So the best part about it is, and people are always going to be skeptical, but the one part about the whole clip that we can all agree on is that when the tour guide asked the ghost, she said his name was Tim. That was the ghost that haunted that area. When she asked him to turn off, to do something with the lights, and immediately the lights went completely off, the whole room gasped inside at once. It was a collective noise-making event where we were all like, what the hell just happened? And then it came back on, and then everybody got excited. And then that was the one moment in that room where I knew we all were in agreement that something weird just happened, and we all saw it. That's why that clip is so cool. And I think I got it too, honestly. I just can't remember where I stuffed it, because I've got 2 5 terabyte hard drives full of video that I'm trying to use up, and it is driving me crazy because I can't find all my stuff.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can send it to the computer from my phone because I've got it on my Android devices. I'm on my I'm streaming from my Surface now. I usually stream from my my Samsung Galaxy tab, but this one's got a better camera. So give me 1 second. I'm sure I can find it.
So, Rachel, do you know about Waverly Hills?
Nope.
See, now that's another thing. Well, while Wayne's looking that up, so Waverly Hills started out as a psychiatric hospital, and
I figured that.
due to a tuberculosis outbreak, they converted it to a tuberculosis hospital, which at the time in the early 1900s, survival rate was in the low percentages. Not many people lived from it. So what ended up happening is that they ended up transporting tuberculosis patients from all over the country into Waverly Hills because it was supposed to be state of the art in treatment and gave you the best chance of living. But what it ended up happening is about 50,000 people over the course of a 10 to 12 year period, I think, died in that facility.
Well, basically, their way of treatment was feeding them, giving them water, keeping them hydrated, and pushing them out onto like a balcony or giving them fresh air. There wasn't really a lot of medical stuff done unless it was experimental.
Yeah, for such a big hospital, there's like 4 floors of rooms, and there's like only one operating room and one like infirmary area. Every place else was just kind of like part of the hospital, but it didn't have medical equipment or whatnot. And, the front of the building that had no windows. That was another thing about that place that was super weird. It's really crazy, to say the least, how that place was. The first time I got to be in that place was back before they started renovating and remodeling it and cleaning it up. And it was so dank and drab in there, and all the old medical equipment and insulation, it smelled funny. You had people like, you had homeless people that had crept in there in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And it was just a very depressing place, and I think that really enhanced its scare value. They really did a nice job of cleaning it up, but trying not to take away from the ambiance of what it was.
All right, I just sent you a video clip of it to the it should be the unedited video of it to your Facebook. Is that something you can pull up?
Sure.
I'll see if I can pull it up here. It starts with a picture of me just kind of filming my EMF detector as we were going down there. And you can hear her messing around with the thing. And then
it to my Facebook?
Yes.
Okay,
if not, all right.
And you got to remember too that this place was first it was a place for the insane, which basically was mistreated. Let's just like it is. But then it became, like I said, the tuberculosis place, where basically people went to die. There was a lot of misery and a lot of suffering throughout its history. So how can that building not absorb or still contain some of that? You know what I'm saying? And that brings back the difference between the residual haunts and the intelligent haunts. And what you all experienced when we're talking about the dots, that is an intelligent haunt.
I'm still waiting for that clip to come through. The main clip that I posted was when we went down the body chute, and you know what that is, right? So at the bottom of the hospital, there's a 10 by 10 tunnel. One side has stairs, one side has a flat ramp going all the way down to the bottom, and that's where they took the bodies and dumped them. I don't think they were given a proper burial, but they cut the tunnel off. They won't let us see what's on the other side. But when you get all the way down to the bottom, there was a doorway there, and then something beyond that, whether it was outside or what, I don't know. But that's how they transported bodies out of the thing down this really long chute. And I'm looking for that video as well. because that's the video where the girl that I was with, when we were walking down to go to the bottom of the body chute, the lady just dropped in front of us. She just completely fell out, and she had no idea why. And that was I took that as being a little creepy in itself.
And then that can go back to where I was talking about. If it doesn't take energy from the battery and the equipment, it can drain your energy, you know? So if you're not watching for this stuff, you can just, like you said, she just dropped out. I mean, you know.
She did too.
And
she just fell out.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there was a funny story too, because when we were there, it was getting towards the end of the night and we were getting kind of tired. So we're sitting kind of like in the lobby room, and this guy comes running down with his girlfriend saying they heard all these like gurneys and everything squeaking, and they, you know, went up to go to the balcony to have a cigarette, and they heard that squeaking. So they came running back down there. So I got all excited because I wanted to get some evidence. So I ended up running back up there just so I could see it. And when I ran back up there, it turned out there was the one lady that he caught on camera face planting in the body chute was trying to pull the thing out in the morgue so she could lay on the slab. And what the guy heard squeaking was her pulling the slab out, and it freaked out the dude, and he came running back. So,
yeah, Wayne, I shared a screen. I'll play that video of her falling.
All right, here it comes.
Though the one thing about this I'll tell you is that I'm not holding the camera super still because it's on my hat and we're going down this big massive staircase and ramp.
Basically in the dark.
Many dead bodies.
Yeah. Dude, listen. Okay, so.
And I apologize for any language in advance.
This gentleman had to roll these bodies down this incline as you're walking down this incline, okay? Just feel it. Just feel it on your body. It is so much pressure.
Why do I want a sled? Now you're gonna feel cold here.
Yeah, I already feel cold.
Go through pockets of cold. Just to change the temperature.
It's painful walking down the slope. But see, the thing is that you gotta hold yourself back, because if you get going forward, you might fall.
Now watch right here.
Oh my God.
My camera is sideways.
Missed my step.
Take your time.
By the time she was talking to Destiny, she didn't even actually realize that it happened. Now, there's the bottom of the chute when you get way down here on the other side where they drop your body. And that's looking up.
So,
Hey, Danny the Dizzle. Yeah, I'll have that video ready. I'll be able to play that video in a minute, Shane. I got it loading right now.
I don't think so.
I've got the uncut version of that video loading on my
error loading file.
That's all right. I got the uncut version loading up right now. I'll play it shortly.
Yeah, I want to know what people think about that.
Crazy.
What'd you think about that tunnel, Rachel?
I would have walked down it.
I mean, listen, when you're in, there's safety in numbers, right? When you're in a big group. Now, if that wouldn't have been that type of atmosphere, if it had been just like wandering in there and having knowledge of everything, but being by yourself might feel a little different.
Well, that's one thing you want to do in an investigation, if at all possible, because a lot of these places you can't venture off. But if at all possible, you do it as a group, but then you get like one person to, you know, like you say, go down the chute by themselves, or at least go into there and see what, because a lot of times some of these spirits, they can also be intimidated by people invading their space, you know? So sometimes you'll get a more reaction with a single person in a room than you will with a group.
Well, I would have walked down it because for the fact that spirits tend to haunt the places they died.
Mhm.
So if they're bringing the bodies down that chute, they'd already died. So it's just a creep factor.
Yeah, more or less what you're saying is their spirit has already left their body
Right.
before they entered that chute. You know, yeah.
So it would just be a creep factor.
But then you have those residual haunts and those intelligent haunts that roam, you know. They could be, you know, checking it out, thinking, well, this is where they took us. This is where, you know, or it could have been a guy that worked there. That was his job, was to take bodies down the chute. So after he passed, he came back to work, you know. You know, just because I wouldn't say there wouldn't be spirits in there, because, you know, we don't know where they go, and we can't tell them where they can and can't go, you know.
No, I'd only be concerned if there was a poltergeist or a demon, but a ghost, nah.
Well, I don't know the
Ghosts and
difference, to be honest.
I do in Phasmophobia, you know.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I guess that's arguable. Is that what you're saying?
That's debatable.
Yeah, right. I you know, the interesting thing is you know, in real life, you know, it's definitely not as in real life, it's definitely not as dangerous as it is in Phasmophobia.
For sure.
So,
Yeah. But yeah, when you like that's what I was asking earlier, kind of like what Rachel was saying. Where would you draw the line? Now, I personally, I don't want to do demonic. I don't want to do anything like that, because that's basically opening yourself up to a different side of the paranormal that you probably don't want to be part of, you know. But now when it comes to spirits, ghosts, hauntings, you know, stuff like that, they don't bother me, because they are just, they're a soul
But you
that
don't know the difference until you know, right? A typical haunting could be a demon or a poltergeist or something that can rip you out of existence or penetrate your brain.
Well, then
I
that
don't
would
know
be
what
an
their capabilities
atypical
are.
haunting.
That's the scary part.
Yeah, but you also do your research on the place. That's like for me. I've always had a strange attraction to the place Bobby Mackey's, which I heard now they're finally tearing it down. But I've also had, like I said, a strange attraction to it, for different reasons. If Joshua would have been a girl, his first name would have been Johanna. Well, that was the place where this girl Johanna was killed, you know. And so, I mean, and Bobby Mackey, his real name is Robert, which was my ex-husband's name. And the guy that supposedly killed, I think what it was, supposedly killed Johanna's name was Randall. So, and then Joshua's name ended up being Joshua Randall. You know, and there were several different links like that I said, you know, but I know that is one that, if you've watched Ghost Adventures, you've seen them go in there. The caretaker was overtaken by demons quite a bit. The priest that he had to come in there was overtaken. So that's a place that I know possesses demonic actions. I am not going to walk in that place. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to tempt fate. But if I go into a place and it feels like it's starting to get dark, yeah, I'll get myself out of that. You know, because sometimes, like I said, well, let's put it this way, at my level of expertise, I'm not ready to deal with that. You know, Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think since it's such a wide open field that we really don't know what's capable of what, and everything might be a risk.
Well, everything's a risk, especially when it does come to the paranormal. But I'm the type of person, I want to see it. I want to be able to prove it. I want to be able to have something tangible that I can say, it's not like I can look at, say we're on a hunt and I'm gonna look at Georgianne and say, oh, Georgianne, could you feel that cold air too? Well, that brings in the prospect of what is that called? Group hysteria type of thing, So it's like a lot of times I would say, go in there and tell me what you think. Not telling you that I felt cold spots or I felt this or I felt that. I want your honest, unbiased opinion,
Hold on a second.
Time.
Is that looking full screen?
That's the best you're gonna get.
There we go. Should be.
Clown.
Give it a second. There we go. Who's a clown?
He looks new, like more.
Clean. He looks
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah. Something. Or like he's not, like I don't know how long he's fixed.
But he doesn't look buttoned up. Look at his eyes.
What you're looking at here is this bottom.
Where are we going from here?
A little magnet is an EMF. And the other
This is where it gets.
Yeah, where can I put the dots up? Anywhere?
sense.
The laser bridge towards that door or that wall.
So put it towards that wall over there?
EMF. So whenever you see that go up, that's like an EMF rating.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe it's a, maybe it's new. Well, it was up in that other room.
Yeah, it sounds like Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Chinese or something. Okay, Mr. T, I'm back. I apologize for not talking to you in a long time. Which, you're not mad, but I'm back. I bought the tripwire again. I know you like that one.
So that they go this way?
Um,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to come.
It's an American act. We just started talking about that.
That is weird. Okay, so he will.
When?
He actually will blow air on the back of your neck, I suppose.
Well, you should be able to see the black. Yeah, there they are.
I put the wire down on the floor.
You want lights out?
Yeah. Okay, well, just to let you guys know, there is an AC vent actually, so that what you feel is probably the AC.
Yeah.
Keep
So
that a little bit forward.
she was saying the cold breeze was probably an AC vent.
Well, hello.
This is Mr. T.
What date is it?
April 26th. Like Mr. T, like I pity the fool, Mr. T?
No, his name is Tim.
Okay, Tim. What was that over here? Oh, that was Shane.
doing that thing again.
Yeah, it sounded.
I tried resetting it and it's still, now it's doing it every time.
Well, yours going to start flashing now.
Turn on the necrophonics to see if he's coming. Well, hello, Tim. It's Cindy. What? We're in the lobby, right?
Bribed.
Maybe those lights are too bright.
It said bride,
Oh, bride.
bribed, like
Bride, like,
greased your palms.
oh,
Where'd Rhea go?
right behind me.
Okay.
Tim, are you here? If you were here, I have the tripwire on the floor. Can you actually touch it for us?
So what that is like a tripwire that's supposed to switch with EMFs, like an EMF detector if anything goes over it.
Some wander around. Tim stays here.
There's 4.
From the morgue sometimes comes here. He likes to. I had a time where actually we had guests with a backpack, and he lifted the backpacks. Okay, you guys need to slow down. Okay, what's happening to Liz, Chris?
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's getting dimmer. Boom.
Come here.
Okay, wait a minute. So, which is, okay, that's Tim actually doing it.
Thank you, Tim.
Tim, okay, turn the light back on, Tim. Please. Thank you. Wow. This is crazy. Okay, stop. I know you like to do that. I know you like to play with flashlights or anything that can. Okay, there it goes again. Okay, leave it on. Okay, wait. Okay, turn it back on, Tim, please. Thank you. Wow.
Wow, it is turning it on too.
Okay, leave it on. Leave it on. Turn it on. Tim, please. Thank you. Leave it on. Please. Dude.
That was weird because it never did that all night, and it started doing that at this point, that red flashing.
Yeah, he likes to do that. Okay, turn it back on, please.
Uncle.
Leave it on.
You make it real bright.
This thing's going crazy. See, it's all flashing red. It's never done that before. There it goes on.
Hey, Tim, leave it on. Tim.
Come on, Tim, we need to see.
You want to turn that on?
No, he's toying with it. Tim. Okay, on the count of 3.
At that point, it would switch to another video. But so there was that one.
Did she give you any description of Tim? Of, why he was there or about anything about him in physical description?
No, she said that he was known to hit people in the back. And I know a few of us there were hoping it would happen to us because our backs were a little sore from carrying everything, So we're, that's, what we're, but, nothing like that happened.
Right.
The interesting thing about that, as she went, and if this were playing on and I had like the other tape I had, if I had the camcorder footage loaded up, she'll go on the count of 3, turn it on, and she goes 1, 2, 3, and it would turn right back on again. And that went on for a few minutes like that, and then eventually the battery was totally dead in the grid. It was curious. I'm not going to say it was totally supernatural, because if the batteries were going bad, batteries was going bad. But it's just interesting how it would respond when you tell it to turn on, and it would turn on again.
Yeah, see,
Oh, no.
that's what got me is it was in direct response to what you all were asking, or what she was asking.
On my footage, and I know there's a few other people there that had a lot of footage, but what I've released as far as footage goes is just not even really hitting the surface. I had a night vision camera there with me, and I've got just hours and hours of footage that I haven't even started releasing yet. I've got footage from the night vision camera of like orbs shooting around through the place, which could have been bugs, off the IR, but it was just curious the way they were moving around. And I also have a lot of digital recordings that I haven't even been totally all through yet.
Yeah, a lot of the video didn't turn out very well either. At least I know some of the stuff that I took, I couldn't. Either I was moving too much, and it wasn't stable, or it was too dark and my camera couldn't record properly.
I had stuff that I thought I had that when I got home, that when I went to look for it wasn't on my like that Ghost Tube app I was using. I had stuff that I could have swore I had, but it just didn't record it. Like that 3 count, I could have swore that was on that video, but it ended right at that point, which, it could have been space on the SD card, or who knows, but it was a very fun evening, though. I definitely want to go back, and I definitely want to go back with a few more toys.
Yeah, we had a nice group and we had a blast. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I mean, I know what we've been around and saw. I want to know what Rachel saw, because she's just up there all quiet. It's like she's ready to drop a big, nice story on us and give us all the heebie-jeebies and scare me.
Story about what? Oh,
I don't know.
do have a couple
Unexplained experiences.
I'll tell you one that I was actually looking for the pictures of what you guys were talking about on Facebook, my makeup pictures, because I don't think Danny and Anna have seen them on Facebook. But when I was a teen, I lived in a group home because I love following the rules. And well, I think we bought, it might have been me that bought it, but I don't remember that detail. But I do remember we bought it secondhand at like a used bookstore or yard sale, a Ouija board. So we're all sitting at, now the house we all lived in was very old, 1800s, I would say, mid to late 1800s. Old Victorian, 3-story Victorian. And there was about 3 or 4 of us sitting there playing with the Ouija board in the dining room. And of course, we're asking silly questions because we're all 15, 16 years old. And blaming each other for, the triangle thing.
To be fair, I'd ask silly questions at 50, just saying.
Yeah. I don't remember what it's called, but the little triangle thing. And we're all going, you're pushing it, blaming each other.
Planchette?
I don't mean we were asking stupid questions, like silly, stupid ones, like, how long have you been a ghost? Like we were asking like just dumb questions, just probably something offensive, because we're blaming each other for the indicator moving. And suddenly, I don't remember, one of the girls had asked something, and suddenly that triangle, I don't remember the name of it, but the indicator.
Planchette? Planchette?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So we're sitting there and we asked, I don't remember, one of the girls asked something, I really don't remember what it was, but it must have been offensive, whatever it was. Because suddenly that thing shot out from underneath our fingers, went across the room and into the wall.
Ooh.
Now, I mean, it's a little plastic 3-inch little triangle with a little nail in it. So it went through, not clear through to the next room, but it went into the wall. And there's no way any of us could have thrown it hard enough to do that. And we would have had to stood up and side winged it. And, like none of us did that. We were all four sitting there with our fingers on it and it just slid out underneath our fingers, hit the wall. And at the same time, one of the staff had come into the dining room, and I guess she witnessed at the end of it hitting the wall. And yeah, they wouldn't let us play with the Ouija anymore. None of them wanted to either, but I did. I was like, well, didn't throw me into the wall, so what do I care? But yeah, that planchette went clear across the room, right out from under our fingers.
Can't imagine you being a rebel though.
I got a hyper puppy right
now. I was always an angel. That's why I dress like this for Halloween.
Yeah.
But that was probably like probably one of the weirdest things. I mean, in my dad's house, and was my grandparents' house, and the man who they bought the house off of, or the family, I assume, he built all the homes on the street, and he actually died on the porch. But there would be like, you shut the bathroom door, and I would be the only one home. The bathroom door shut, like latch caught, and the bathroom door would just click open all by itself. And there would be stuff like that. There was another time I felt I was laying on the couch, I think watching TV, and I felt something on my arm, like pressure on my arm, and then I had hot breath in my ear and growls like a dog. Right in my ear, I could feel the hot breath. And there'd be times when I would hear my name called, but nobody was home. So we didn't think it was Mr. Frisk who owned the house. We figured it was when my grandmother had a very close friend that had died when they were in their youth. And my dad had told me later, like, she would always talk to her friend, but, like, not like when we talk to, like, I talk to my mom, but it's a one-sided conversation. It's not like I'm getting replies. So if you hear me, hey, Ma, what's going on with this? Like, whatever, stuff like that. But he said she would have full-on conversations, but you only heard her side. And you could tell it was a conversation, not just her talking to her friend. Oh, Sally, I miss you, And so we think that she had brought this spirit with her. The spirit stayed with her friend. And then when my grandmother died, the spirit had nowhere to go. So stayed there. So people on the street, not the newer people that have moved in since, but there's a couple of people that still live there from my childhood, and they say they can occasionally see an old woman dressed like an older clothing, not 1800s. We're talking, my grandmother was born in 1908, so mid 20s, 1920s, but they call her Lady. I don't remember what they call her. They even try to get the two guys from Weird New Jersey to put it in the book. I'm like, it's a dead-end street. Leave her alone. You don't want crowds of people coming up this 8-house dead-end street, But they still see her around the house.
My alarm went off.
Yeah. We fixed it.
That's the alarm I wake up to. I start turning my head looking for my phone. I'm just curious about everybody's first experience, first time that they ever thought that they saw a quote unquote
Good night, Anna.
Or something to that effect. Good night, Anna.
When I was little, living in Englishtown, about a quarter mile from the Tenet Church, what they used as a hospital during the Battle of Monmouth.
So my first ghost story is I was too young to even realize that what a ghost was. So that's why it holds merit. It held merit with my grandmother. So we lived, my mom and dad and myself lived in a trailer right down the street from my grandparents' farm. My grandfather had a stroke. I was probably 2 or 3 years old. He had a stroke and passed away. So the next year or so was a troubling time. Grandma couldn't take care of the farm. Mom and dad each had jobs. You know, there was nobody to do the farm work. So she was forced into selling the farm. She sells the farm, moves into a little house in town. And then almost immediately thereafter, my mom and dad started having problems. And, you know, and so separation happened, and my life changed. So my grandmother, who never worked, you know, that's from a time when she was a homemaker. That was her job. She moves into this little house, and we called it the Little White House, is what she moved into, because the farmhouse was big and spacious. She moved into there, and Mom was going to work, and I went to stay with my grandmother for the day. We only lived on the bottom floor of this house. Nobody went upstairs because grandmother was getting elderly and she didn't want to travel up the stairs. And at the bottom of the stairs, there was just like one of those, it was like a folding door, but it pulled over and it latched. You know, you moved it back and forth, but it wasn't like a solid door. And I was running around the house like an idiot. And she was in the kitchen, which was right around the corner. And she could see me out of the corner of her eye. And I stopped and I reached up there and she grabbed the latch. And she says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I heard something." And she, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I heard something. I'm going to look." And she says, "Don't you go up there. You're too little to go up there." And I opened it up. And as I looked at the top of the stairs, now this could be a dream. This could be a diluted memory from a 3-year-old kid. But what she told me next, see, what, you know, I wasn't sure what I saw or what I remembered. It was only after she corroborated what I saw when I was older. I looked up the top of the stairs and I told her, I said, "Hey, Grandpa, what are you doing?" And she dropped the pan in the kitchen. I turned and I looked, and I turned to look back, and he was gone. And that was the story that we shared up until her death. We always talked about that because that was her belief in ghosts, because of what I said there as a 3-year-old kid that didn't know no better. So my story, my memory of it comes mainly from her telling me, but all in the same, it feels real. So I don't know if that's reality or that's something that it's been twisted around in my brain over the course of my life. But that's when I really believed that ghosts and spirits and was real.
What about you, Ange? You got anything?
My first, I guess you would say first hair-raising moment or questioning moment was kind of like Rachel's. I don't remember a Ouija board, but I remember we were at, we called her Aunt Dory's house. It was some family. And I can't remember if it's when some of her family passed away. And us kids, they had an L-shaped house. And when you went in, there was like the living room, and then you went down a little hallway was the kitchen, then it turned to L-shaped. And at the corner there was a bathroom, and then there was like 4 or so bedrooms down the hall. And we were sitting there because we weren't allowed to go in the hallway, I mean, into the bedrooms or nothing. And, you know, you had to stay where your parents could see you. So we were sitting there like in front of the bathroom, doing something. So I don't remember a Ouija board, but we were doing some kind of thing like that. And then I forgot who we were even trying to contact, but I remember all of a sudden the doors that were closed just bam, they just blew open. All the bedroom doors just boom, 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 you know, to the point to where parents even, I mean, you know, the adults came and they looked at us, thought we were playing in the hallway, you know, and we're sitting there going, what just happened? of course, we got in trouble because they said we were going in and out of the bedrooms, and we're like, no, we didn't do that, you know. And so that's the first thing I can really remember. But then there's been little things through, I guess you could say, more of toward the adulthood, where I became more aware of it and I kept the memories more. We lived in a house, my first marriage, we lived in Detroit, and we lived in a house that belonged to a friend of my ex-husband's. And it was the house he grew up in, and we were renting that. And I kept seeing, like, I thought I was dreaming, you know, how you're half asleep, half awake. No, I really didn't see that. And I'm like, I keep seeing this person standing in the corner of this bedroom. And come to find out, it was the guy, the owner of the house, his dad. Well, the dad that owned the house. That was his bedroom, you know. And so, you know, out of skeptic, you know, they're like, well, what did he look like? And, you know, I described what he looked like, and the son was sitting there and he just went, "You're effing kidding me." I'm like, why? He opened up his wallet and showed me a picture of his dad, you know, and I said, that's him, you know. So I knew that the house was haunted by this guy, and, you know, his name was Frank. And there was a chandelier, the way the house was set up, the older house, it's like, you know, the living room, dining room, and a kitchen. And then off to the side were bedrooms and the bathrooms. Well, I always left the dining room light on because no matter where I went in the house, you know, there was a light. That light, it was a real fancy, antique, I'd call it Tiffany style chandelier with the cut glass and, you know, all that stuff. Every time, you know, it's just like every so often, it just like shut off. And I'd go in and I would literally flip the switch back on. And I finally asked my ex-husband, I said, there's something wrong with the electrical in his house. That light keeps going off. And so, of course, when the friend came over, we was telling him about it, you know, because, you know, you don't want your house to burn down. You might want to get that checked. He said, no, that's Dad. I'm like, what? He said, yeah. I said, he hated it when us kids left that light on, said we was going to wear it out. I think the light belonged to his great grandmother. And he said he would literally go through and turn the light off, you know, on them and stuff. So after that, I would just say, now, Frank, you turn that light back on. You know I'm afraid of the dark. And the light would come back on, you know. And I'm like, okay. So I talked to him. I was never afraid of him, you know. But now there was noises in the attic. And I got a story about the attic of two sisters that actually, they were afraid or something other. Anyhow, they stayed up there. They basically died in the attic. But all they did was they would pace back and forth in the attic. And that's what I would hear at night, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it's just some of the, you know, and my grandmother, they lived in an old coal town. And if y'all have seen any of the movies, you know, the old coal companies and stuff like that, the coal companies actually owned the housing, you know, and you basically lived where they told you to live. And she used to tell us of all kinds of different stories and stuff, you know. But then, like I said, as I got more in tune with that side, more and more things started happening personally to me like that.
Not really joking, but did you ever attribute some of the things like that to thinking that you might be a little mentally ill? Because I mean, really, I mean, you're told that it isn't real. You're told these things aren't reality. I mean, has that ever crossed your mind that you might be nuts? I mean,
Well, it is actually because I do have a mental disability. Okay. I've been diagnosed bipolar. And so I actually talked about that with my therapist one time. Because I'm thinking, okay, he's going to say, yeah, you are totally nuts. But he's also a believer in the paranormal. And he has done research on it and everything. And he says a lot of times, a lot of these people that are diagnosed with mental illnesses are basically people that can see the other side or whatever, you know. And he said it's not uncommon for somebody that's bipolar to have some types of abilities and stuff. So yeah. Mental illness can contribute to it.
Oh yeah. Well then, man, then you ought to be seeing gigantic ghosts everywhere then, Miss Angie.
I see a scary Shane twice a week at least.
I mean, never mind. I'll stop right there.
I know every time I look in the mirror, right?
I had a zinger, but I thought I would just hold off on it. Come on, Wayne. Why don't you share your most real paranormal experience today? This is your live stream too, by the way, and we've railroaded it.
Fair enough. First of all, Angie, that was a great story, and I've been to Detroit a few times myself, so I can, I can tell you that was kind of close to home. But my stories are probably pretty tame compared to yours. But a few years ago, and I loaded up a picture too while you were telling your story. I took the time to load up the picture. So a few years ago, I'll tell the story to do the backlog. What was we went to Florida for Maria's birthday. So I took her for a long weekend in Florida. It was a 2.5-hour flight from Detroit. So we went to Florida, and part of that trip was we did a paranormal investigation in Ybor City. So we go to this one place, and and they're telling the whole story. And I do have this video posted on my channel. You can go back to it. It was the year before last. So it was like two Halloweens ago is when I posted this video, and it shows the whole investigation. But anyways, I digress. So we get in there and we get into this one place, and the lady's like, I was using that GhostTube app that I just showed when we were at Waverly Hills. So I was there, and the whole night it was being normal. And the lady's like, that's doing the hosting the paranormal event, says this location, whatever's here, is really nasty. So as soon as I turned it on, it called me an idiot, and I just got so excited, because I was like, oh, it called me an idiot, and I was all laughing and and everything. And we're going through, and there's a few things that went on there, and incidentally, I have footage of a lot of this. One of we had like SLS cameras there, which kind of shows the lines of the bodies and everything. And one of the people there had an SLS camera, and this video is actually on my channel, and he's holding it in the middle of nowhere. So a lot of times SLS cameras, I don't put much credence in, because if you like put it on a chair leg, it'll show you a picture of somebody dancing, or if you put it on the corner of a wall. But he was holding it in the middle of the room, and it looked like something was moving around, which was kind of interesting. So we're going through and we're taking pictures, and there's instances with the flashlights going on and off, and weird little things like that. And I took a picture, and here's the picture. I will share it. And I was never sure if this picture was a trick of light, and just a bad thing in the film, or if there's something there. But I will do a quick screen share, and let me find it real quick. Here we go. And if you look on the picture, look to the right of the picture. It'll go up in a second. Let me know. Can you guys see it yet? There you go. So if you look to the right of the picture, I'll see if I'll move my mouse here. Like right up in here, you can kind of see like an outline and a silhouette of a body, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I see it. Like almost, I see, well, certain way I look at it, I can see like a side profile.
Yeah, like yeah, if you look at it, I can see like lips here, nose,
Uh-huh.
eyes,
Yeah.
you know,
But it's like you see more of one side.
like a shoulder go. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Like right here, you can see more of that side.
Yeah.
So to be fair, that could be a trick of light, that could be anything, but it is a cool picture. I have like, pictures where I have it circled so it kind of stands out. But
You know what? Another one, Wayne, if you go down to the bottom where the shadow goes from red to dark, and then where you're talking about the figure, the line goes straight down the middle. That looks like two legs. And then if you go straight up from the middle to the left just a hair, that looks like the right arm, and he's walking out of frame.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I see anyway.
Yeah. Either way, it's like it's an interesting picture, regardless.
Yeah.
See, that's
Pretty
one
neat.
thing about paranormal is it can be interpreted so many different ways. It's like, Shane sees one thing, I can see another thing, but we still see the same thing. We still see a person there,
Yeah, it was weird because I actually didn't see that picture till I was putting the video together, like months later, because it was in April. We went to Ybor for Maria's birthday in April, and I was putting this video together early to mid October. And when I was putting the video together, I seen that picture. I sent it to the lady who was hosting the paranormal event, and she's like, "Wow!" She's like, "That's a really good picture." And she said that she had gotten a couple others very similar and locations down there. So that was probably the coolest one I have. But that one in particular was really cool because when you're going through there, that particular location, I seen that's the first time I've actually seen an SLS camera work in a way that I couldn't debunk it.
I'd love to have one of those. Those things are awesome. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of my experiences happened prior to YouTube, So, I mean, we might have had pictures or whatever, but trying to find them now. So that's why me and Josh want to go back to St. Augustine and do some more of the things that we did. One of the things we did that, well, there's a couple of St. Augustine that really stuck out. One was at the old jail. And like I said, I'm starting to come into the fact that where I'm an empath, I feel things. And we were going to the old jail. I'm sorry.
No, I'll type it. Someone was saying something in the stream. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, and we got there early because you want to get there early to make sure you get a good spot when you're standing, and and I was telling Josh, I said, this is what we're talking about it, and like, this is what I'm feeling. And he's got some kind of app on his phone, I don't know, and I'm like, there's a little boy here, and his name starts with some kind of T, or I hear the T sound, and on his app come up Tim, which shocked me because of that, what you'd done. But anyhow, we go through the system, and we got our little EMFs, and we're doing this and they're doing that, and they're all concentrating on the old jail cells and all of this stuff. But I'm drawn to the resident side of it. And so after everybody's left and they're like, you have any questions, we're turning our equipment in, and I said, well, who was Tim? And the guy looked at me. He said, you're an investigator, aren't you? I said, no. Because he's an investigator. He also does investigations. I'm like, no, I just feel there's a little boy here, about 5 to 7 years old, and blah, blah, blah. And come to find out, it was one of the old jail keepers, whatever you call them, the sheriffs. It was one of his little boy. It was his little boy that had died of some kind of fever or something other back in the day at the age of 7.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy. That one of the things that that should spark the interest of anybody that does want to do a paranormal investigation at Waverly Hills is that when you're walking through the residence area, there is no electricity except for one lighting circuit in the hallway that's actually turned on. So anything you get from the EMF is most generally not from electric from the building because it's not present for the most part. And those EMF detectors were working together, going off in similar places. Wayne and I sat in one room and I don't have the recording per se, but we were both sharing the same recording, which was really kind of cool because we were sitting there looking at it and it was doing the exact same thing at that point in time. I found a really cool picture of something that you talked about earlier, Angie. And I don't know if this was out of your brain, that it was actual knowledge, but when we were talking about how the Waverly Hills was functioned as a hospital, and you said it was more about fresh air and making people feel comfortable and stuff like that. I'm going to share this picture that I found, and it makes me feel like you knew something. So that's those are the rooms, and you walk down these hallways, and there's these big open windows out here on the front, and they pulled them out there every day out of their rooms. Their beds all have rollers on there, and they set them up to where, since they couldn't get out of bed, but they could look out into the beautiful. The landscape there is beautiful, and they had these big, huge windows all through the residential area, and that just reminded me of the way you thought it was when you explained it earlier about fresh air and, being comfortable. And that's what they consider their treatment.
Yeah. And incidentally, when we were at that point in Waverly Hills, because we had gone through there, that part, that one part where we had the first part where you were in that room, where you were getting that EMF reading right in the middle of the room, was right across like the hall from the backside of where those rooms were in the balcony. Interestingly enough, but when we were in those rooms along the balcony, I didn't get anything in there. We were trying, and we didn't get anything there. It wasn't until we were like on the other side of the hallway that we seen anything.
So I'm trying to give Rachel some idea of what the hospital looks like, since she doesn't know much about it. But there's an early 50s picture of the front of the hospital after it had closed.
It's massive.
Oh yeah, the grounds was even bigger once upon a time before. It's all cut off. It's all sealed off. It's a big area. Getting there was a trip, right? Because the address doesn't work. You put the address in the GPS and it takes you to the wrong place. We had to physically call back and get directions to get into this place, and they brought us up some service road to get into the hospital because of trespassers.
Yeah, like around, like through like this golf course road and everything.
It was a service road alongside a golf course.
Yeah.
Crazy. I've been to Pennhurst Asylum. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
That's another one I'd love to go to.
Yeah, I'd want to see Penn State too, or the state penitentiary.
Eastern State.
Yeah, Eastern State Penitentiary. That's right.
They're both like big, huge draws of throngs of people. So
yeah, I don't think they do paranormal investigations there like they do with Waverly Hills, though.
You can set up like the little group things like that, but they're such a tourist attraction now. Like, I haven't been to Eastern State only because hundreds of people are going through there every day, especially during October. So I went to Pennhurst. It was pretty neat. I mean, there was a lot of people there that night too, but it was still pretty cool. But they kind of had some of it set up like a haunt.
Yeah, the cool thing about Waverly Hills is you can buy a night there and have the place to yourself.
Yeah, I think you can at Pennhurst. So I'm not sure.
Oh, we're going to do that. We intended on doing it this year. We were going to spend the money and do it, but it didn't. we didn't realize how fast those spots sell.
Yeah. So we ended up doing a public one, which was mixed blessings, because it was big enough to where we could get off on our own and be by ourselves, but there you'd run into people somewhere, and then when you're hearing stuff, you're never sure if you're hearing another group or if it was something else going on.
Well, if you guys ever make it out to New Jersey, I'll take you to Camp Evans.
Bet. I'll go. Like I said, I'll go do anything. I
There's
think
some weird things that have happened there. So
yeah, Wayne, I didn't want to run this clip because it's probably copyrighted since it belongs to like a PBS network, but I'll show another picture here, and look at the bottom right-hand corner of it and tell me what you remember.
Oh, there it is. The bottom right-hand corner.
Close. Yeah. Now this is on a video they filmed as a kind of like a mini documentary. Do you see the ball?
Oh yeah, the green one. Yep.
That ball was there the night we were there.
Oh yeah.
It was in that little girl's room with the dolls.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the room we were in that we were trying to get something and we couldn't get anything in.
No, but I find it funny that ball is still in that building, and this was filmed like, I don't know, 2023.
Yeah, what I'd like to do if we get back there and we get in that building again is I'd like to actually spend a little bit of time in the areas we didn't hit as much. Like I didn't really get to go down much in the body shoot. I was there for a little bit, but I didn't. There were so many people going up and down there that it just didn't seem like the best thing for me. So I'd like to go there if we end up renting the place out, go there and get down in the body shoot. The fourth floor where they claim to see the shadow figures, I'd like to go up there and try to set up a camera and try to figure out what that is. See, I'm skeptical by nature. So when I'd be seeing the stuff, I'd be going to it, trying to figure out what would be causing it.
Oh, for sure. I'm looking through to see if there's any other stuff in here. The medical rooms were crazy, the way that they looked, like the way they did for the lighting and for the surgical tables. I can only imagine what life was like in that place.
Well, we're approaching the 10:30 hour.
Are we really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we've been on for an hour and a half. I think we should start wrapping it up. I want to thank every one of you for coming up on the panel tonight, and I'd like to thank anyone that's still watching and everyone that wanted to stop in tonight and say hi. I appreciate you all, and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
You too.
Happy
Happy
spooky
Halloween.
season.
The scariest costume on the panel tonight has to go to Angie.
Angie.
Man, sorry, Rachel.
Oh, shots fired.
All right. Well, next year I'll do it. I just didn't want to take the time to spray my hair orange and make it,
Rachel, your costume is amazing. You look great.
Yeah,
I
you-
love that.
Yeah, you had the nicest costume on the panel tonight by far.
So check this. I'm not going to share it. Maybe I will. So what they did was my boss at work is a female. And so we were doing trunk or treat last night at work, and I'll let you end this after this. But it was proposed to me that I would do trunk or treat with my boss in a dress and be dressed up like a woman. I've got traumatic experience in my life. My older sister had her way with me as a 6-year-old kid and dressed me up as a little girl on Halloween, and really, really messed my day up because all my buddies made fun of me for years for that. So I was a little traumatized by the idea. But my boss is also very much a smart ass like me. And so what she did was since I denied her requests when she told me I didn't have a choice, it was an order. She took a picture of me, went to our marketing printer, printed out a life-size picture of me, and then dressed me up with a wig and a skirt and a cardboard cutout, and she carried me around for Halloween, and everybody got their picture taken with it. They blew my phone up today with me being in pictures as a girl, and I should have just wore the damn dress. I'm just going to tell you right now, I should have just put on the dress and sucked it up, because this is going to live forever. And I promise you, one of you are going to end up with a picture. Hell, if I get it, I might even send it to you. I don't care. I'm not ashamed. But they're trying to
I'll probably make it into a sticker.
Oh, maybe I won't, because I don't want stickers out there like that.
Yeah.
I will share. I'm not that way, but I just don't have it now, or I would share now.
So, well, everybody, thank you for coming, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.